Thank you for tuning in to TalkWad.com, the world's fastest growing internet radio network. Please check out all the other great shows on www.talkwad.com.
TalkWad Radio Network welcomes you to the SpiritPioneers.com channel, where you can find Momma J Speaks, also simulcasted on theartsradio.com channel as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Momma J Speaks show. As you can see, I am one with myself today. And it's perfectly all right because I am anticipating calling guest galore. And of course, I have my dear best buddy engineer, Adam, over in the distance. Yeah. So anyways, welcome everybody. This is, I think, a 13th or 14th show that I've been doing. Last week, I had some personal family losses, so I skipped last week. I'm sorry if I missed you, and know that I've been thinking of you all out there. However, today we are going to talk about different things pertaining to the environment, because this weekend I got the nudge to go to Orlando and hang out with some of my friends from there. And I ended up going to a Speak Up Wekiva event that was to educate the public and environmentalists and people of that sort to let us know and to become very, very aware that our water systems are being highly affected by the fertilizers, by development, by consuming of the resources, and there is a lot of nitrates affecting the waters throughout Florida, because if anyone did not know this, Florida has the most rivers, streams, and springs in any place in this country. It's Florida. So we're definitely very, very much the people that we need to start helping our waters and everything. So anyway, for any of you that is brand new at tuning into my show, it's a very eclectic show. It's primarily with artists, musicians, authors. It has a spiritual undertone. However, we go from topics to environmental, to business, to politics, and anything and everything in between. And so, welcome if it's your first time. And for everybody else, hello, regardless. I'm glad you're tuning in yet again. And I want everyone to know that if you want to partake in calling in and talking and discussing, you can call 727-493-2055 and be a call-in guest. Love to hear from you, as we will be having other guests calling in today. They will be calling from Orlando. We have a Mr. Ron Haben that will be calling in probably around 5:15. Then Dan and Vicky Dulce, they should be calling around 5:20, 5:25 perhaps. And then another couple by the name of Jennifer and Jason Halvinston that should be calling somewhere in between both of them. So we shall see if they've gotten the memo and they will actually call in today. But at any rate, let's just enjoy the topics that I'll be talking about. I'm going to, of course, put out some questions or affirmations for you all today, and I'll probably do that closer to this beginning part of the show before I get the callers in. And this is all to get your minds going and thinking in a different kind of way. Because as you all know, I read a lot of books, I watch a lot of documentaries, and there was one particular documentary that I recently came across that's about uniting science with spirituality. And how our bodies are all related, along with the spiritual aspect that a lot of us have gotten away from. So this is just a little something to get your mind going. Perception controls behavior, and perception controls genes. Perception can rewrite genes, and perception can rewrite behavior. Take that and see how that mulls over for you. Because when I heard this, I wrote it down. I'm like, really? It's all a matter of perception. It's all a matter of how we want to view life, and we can view our lives in any particular manner we want to, and that really determines how our health, our genes, our body systems actually correlate and work with each other. So that's something out there for you guys to consider. And also understand this: beliefs are conclusions derived from information or experience. Beliefs can be both conscious and subconscious. Beliefs are filters for reality. You see the world not as it is, but as you are. So always remember that your reality that you're experiencing is based upon what you're perceiving, and somebody else's reality is also based upon what they personally are perceiving. And then when you collide, that's when you get either some flowing harmony or a train wreck. So anyway, let's see. Some of the people that I came across at this event that I went to over this weekend were some equinox documentaries. They actually did some very cool environmental documentaries. That was very cool. I'm hoping that in the very near future, I'll actually get one or a few of them, of the writers and producers on this show, to share with you all, and go from there. Oh, yeah, and there were some young people from the college that created this organization, ideasforus.org, and they created this organization that helped raise money to get solar panels that can actually, which actually is totally giving the power to the building, an entire building on the college campus that they are from. So I met these young people, and I'm looking forward maybe having them in the near future as guests as well, and talk about their wonderful ideas of how to change the world, and not just think about it, but actually do something about it. And that's what this weekend was really about. People coming to the forefront and realizing that we have to put into action, and no more just thinking about and wondering what we're going to do. Really formulate plans and execute them so they can be viable, and also have some sort of substance that arises from all of that. So anyways, I have about a few moments left before I start getting, let's see if they call in on cue, and go from there. So Adam, how was your weekend this weekend?
My weekend was a weekend.
Did you do anything entertaining or interesting? Did you find out anything new about life?
I don't even remember what I did this weekend.
Really?
I did laundry, and I did laundry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But did you use organic type laundry detergent?
I did not. I did use free and clear, but I did not use organic.
Oh, okay. Because, you know, the nitrates in that from the water, it gets into the water and it affects the water around everywhere. You know that, right?
I do now.
Don't you feel so much smarter now?
I do. I feel enlightened.
Hey, that's what my show is all about. I'm about enlightening people, inspiring people.
Exactly.
getting, feathers ruffled if need be. Who knows?
Well, I've been inspiringly enlightened.
Oh, cool. Fantastic.
Or enlighteningly inspired.
Lightly inspired. Oh, I like that one. It was just a little light. Not too heavy. Just enough. Very good. And how's your show been going?
It's been going pretty good. Didn't have much to talk about last night, so we kind of skipped it. So it was just going to be me, and I don't like talking by myself.
I understand. Well, did you see any good movies lately?
Recently? No. I haven't gone to a movie in a long time. Not since The Hobbit.
Oh, yes, that big discussion about The Hobbit.
But I did see it 5 times.
Wow. You really liked that.
I did. I liked it.
So anybody that's listening or watching, he's a huge fan of The Hobbit. And if you haven't seen it yet, I guess you should go see it. I actually saw Side Effects. And that movie was a very interesting head-turner, swivel type of movie. You thought it was very twisty. It was a very twisty movie. It turned out not as you would have thought it was going to turn out at the beginning, especially based upon their previews.
Right.
You can usually see a whole movie in a preview.
Right.
All the good parts. But who knows? It was about drugs and the side effects that people have with drugs and whatnot. And that is something that people should consider. Stay away from the pharmaceuticals because the side effects can harm you more so than the actual problem you might actually have. Did you hear about the asteroid that was
Russia?
Well, that was a meteorite that hit, but there was an asteroid that was following behind it, actually, and it totally dodged us.
Wow.
So I'm bringing this up because if people did not understand or realize that there is a major energy out there that is truly protecting us and helping us, and as people are enlightening and awakening to their highest consciousness, their highest being, their prayers and their emotional clearing and realizing that they have the love within themselves are helping to change and shift the course of some major stuff that has been occurring and could have occurred. And that primarily was an asteroid that totally we totally dodged a huge bullet. It was 130,000 tons, the size of Texas.
It seems every time there's an asteroid, it's the size of Texas. The one in that Armageddon movie was the size of Texas.
You don't say.
Just did.
Oh my goodness. It's life imitating art.
There you go.
Or is it art imitating life? It was one of those deals where had it hit it, we would have totally been forced into an ice age.
Right.
Which then would have been imitating, what was it, The Day After Tomorrow, that movie.
Yeah,
Did you ever see that?
Tomorrow, yeah.
That was an environmental type movie right there.
Yep.
Nobody realizes that. Or do they?
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do. Okay. So it's about 15 after. And come on. I see you. I'm sending out brainwaves. You must do your calling right now. How are you doing? La-da-da-dee-da. Oh, look. There's a call. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Is this...
Nice to see you.
Hello?
Live and in color on my computer screen.
Yes.
Now, the slight glitch is I'm hearing every word I say as an echo into me, but I'm waving to you as well.
Hi. This
I
is
get
Ron
to hear myself
Haben.
twice. That's an interesting concept, but driven to madness. So how are you? And it was so good to see you up at our Wekiva River Stand Up for Wekiva Day.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
1,000 people who were enthusiastic and ready to rock and roll, wouldn't you say?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
That was a beautiful day, and we had some cool weather, but it was endemic of a lot of the problems that are water oriented here in Florida, as you know, because
Right.
the Wekiva is really under stress. A good friend of mine told me recently that she, as a girl, dreamed of being a Wiki-Wachi mermaid,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the problem is if she were to do it now, it'd be a lot harder for the folks at Wiki-Wachi to see her because those waters are now nitrate added, and
Hello, you're on the air.
there's algae forming on the bottom
Mm-hmm.
of those springs, and that's what's happening in many, many, many springs and rivers in Florida, and we've
Right.
got to put a stop to it, my friend.
Absolutely. And we have another caller on the line. Everybody, this is Ron Haben that was just speaking. And who do we have now that's called in?
Hi, it's Jennifer and Jason Helvinston.
Hi, how are you? Fabulous to have you calling in.
Well, thank you. We're doing well. We appreciate it. I hope you're doing well.
Most definitely. All my listeners, there's also a picture of Jennifer and Jason right there.
There's also a picture of Jennifer and Jason.
Yay! We're having a party on this line. Fabulous. Okay, somebody needs to turn down their computer because we're having the echoing feedback.
Okay, mine's off.
Okay, fabulous. All right, so
Hey.
hello, and is this Dee?
Carrie.
Carrie! Oh, hey, Carrie. Welcome.
Hey.
Joining the discussion. We have Carrie online, we have Ron online, and we have Jason and Jennifer online calling in. And we're all going to be talking about Ron Haben is somebody from the green team of Christchurch Unity. Jennifer and Jason Helveston are from Orlando that are also part of Christchurch Unity. They've recently become members, and
Woo.
yay, Christchurch Unity. And Carrie is also a Christchurch Unity person. Yay, Unity people. And
Yay.
what we're all doing.
Yay, bathroom tissue. Great.
And what we're all doing today is Ron is going to be talking about the Wekiva. Jason and Jennifer are going to be talking about their Orlando Patriotic Vegetable Garden that they are fighting City Hall of Orlando to be able to grow a vegetable garden in their front yard as opposed in the back, and that's all environmental stuff. And then Carrie, she's our throw-in person that just wanted to call.
Yeah. Show my support, and I agree with the garden in the front yard. You should be able to grow wherever you want to grow.
Absolutely. So,
where the sun is.
yes, exactly. And so, Ron, you were speaking briefly about the Wekiva. And now, Jennifer and Jason, how about you go ahead and give us some of what's been going on with you guys?
Well, I think the Wekiva is a great lead into what's going on with us guys, because what we do prevents the very problem that the Wekiva is having, and that is allowing all of our fertilizers to run off into the streets and drainages and then eventually into our streams, rivers, and lakes. And that's why we do a front yard garden, and one of the many reasons why, but that's just another reason why. And basically, we wanted to, plant a garden, and we needed the sun. And so one day we decided the only place we had it was in the front yard, and we decided to go ahead and put the front yard garden in.
That rocks. That is fantastic.
Absolutely.
But you guys have been running up against the politics of it all, I hear.
Well, it really is a majorly political issue, come to find out. We never thought our little garden on the end of dead-end street to I-4 would make such a fuss, but it's a property rights issue, it's a food issue, it's a healthy, no GMO resource type of food issue. It's a get out and exercise issue. It's a religious right issue. It becomes a property rights issue. I mean, it's just so many different things have popped up around this to the point now. One person said that we are basically in the face of our neighbors, where we disrespect our neighbors' rights by putting in a front yard garden. And we asked him, it's like, if that's the case, then isn't every neighbor disrespecting us by poisoning their yards with fertilizers and a little sign that says children and dogs can't play here?
Exactly. Yep. And then there's the poison. And so, Ron, how are you feeling about all of this that's been occurring? And you're a very big supporter of environmental issues and everything because you're the head of the Green Team, correct?
Yes, and well, I'm of course in complete support, and it's a very important issue that here in Orlando and in Central Florida, Jason and Jennifer will be having their case in front of the mayor of Orange County and the mayor of Orlando particularly. In this case, it's a city issue, but again, let's expand it to everywhere.
Right.
That this is a challenge to change antiquated codification in cities and in counties around the United States. And specifically, the issue is, can we grow our own food the way we want it on our property? And that encourages, communalism, as it were, and neighborliness, and getting away one of the banes of again, from here right to the Wekiva, as Jason said, it's trying to feed this very thirsty, stupid grass called St. Augustine, which, despite its name, doesn't really belong here and is not a native.
Right.
And so what indeed does happen is a lot of extra watering, which impacts the aquifer. And as you probably know, Momma J, the aquifer only quenches the thirst of 93% of the people of Florida. And so we've got to protect that aquifer, and right now it's under tremendous stress and strain. And so the last thing we need to be doing is doing extra watering on grass that doesn't belong here. And wouldn't it be a lot easier to lose the pesticides and save some money and grow some healthy food, real local-like, and bring down prices everywhere and get neighbors talking to each other?
Absolutely.
And so it's all, Jason's right, it's all interconnected, and we all have our parts to play. And I say it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Oh,
I
yes.
agree.
And so with you all being in Orlando, and I was so happy to be with you all this weekend. Jennifer and Jason got to really have a chance to talk with you a little bit. And Ron, you're my bud. We went out to Wekiva, and Carrie Jo, I was able to stay with you guys. So thank you so much. And so what I want to try and create is I wanted you all to come on this show today and express yourselves and share with everybody so we can create an awareness so people can start doing something to make a change within their own communities, in their own neighborhoods. So I'm hoping that this will stir something in anybody that's throughout the state of Florida, throughout the United States, throughout the world, that we can take control and change something. And if that means we all get into the same similar fight that Jennifer and Jason is doing with the political aspect of it, we all start lobbying to be able to grow our own food in our front yards if that's what we choose to do.
I mean, we pay for the property taxes. We own it. Why can't we, It's like an eyes wide shut issue. Everybody's aware of the tremendous burden that we have upon us, but nobody chooses to do anything, actively. We might call in, but don't do anything in the background, and that's where we're all going wrong.
Right. And so what I'm wanting to help get us all going because Jennifer and Jason, they're the doers. Ron is a doer. Carrie, you're doing something too. I know you are.
Hey, I have a garden.
Yeah, yeah. What can we tell people during this time frame that they really should start doing to move forward to make, if they choose, their front yards a garden? And if they're going to end up running into the same issues that you all have run into, what are the steps that they should take to maybe start stepping around it or something?
This is my best advice to everybody out there. Start your front yard garden today, no matter where you live, even if you live in the city of Orlando, because what you find out is every one of their codes are so archaic, they never thought of vegetable gardens. So you have a much better chance of getting forgiveness later than you'll ever get by asking permission up front, because they'll just create a code for you if you ask. So just do it. And the more people that do it, then the more people that will get it done, and they won't have anything to say about. And that's pretty much what's happened in our case.
So what we have going on right now is a peaceful protest. You could go to patriot-gardens.com, and we'll go ahead and send you a free packet of radish seeds and a sign that says Patriot Gardens. Plant the seed, change the law, so that we can show the city and the world how important local food and property rights and all the issues that this brings up really are to all of us.
And more importantly, that we all get together now. This is, the people are got to take the power back to them. These cute little elite leaders have taken all the power from us, and we need to take it back, and we need to show that we're taking it back by organizing and coming together on issues. Even if you're not 100% behind that issue, if you're enough behind it to get back there and support them, that's all we need you to do. And that's just the case for anything. There's other issues coming up. There's a big issue. We have ours on the 25th, but on the 26th, there's another issue with Orange County and the landfill that everybody needs to get up in arms and fighting for. And they're just going to keep coming. And unless we keep showing up and getting in their faces and keep telling them that we're not going to fall for it, they're going to keep basically getting what they want.
Right. And so with you all in Orlando, I'm here in Clearwater, St. Pete. I got some people stirring in Sarasota too that are, into this whole co-op, everybody coming together to work together to create gardens, to help the environment and everything else. So we can start creating a synergy of energy that can start going throughout the state of Florida and start becoming a model for other parts of the country as well.
Well, I've got this is Ron, and I have an unfortunate Sarasota story as you're talking about this whole triangle area that we'll call Central Florida. A few years ago, I was down at the Ringling Museum, the famous Ringling Mansion in Sarasota, attending what I thought was going to be my niece's wedding.
Right.
And it was set up beautifully outside, and the sun was setting as it only can over Tampa Bay, and suddenly we started detecting an odor. And it got worse and worse and worse and worse. And a very long story short, it was the beginning of that day's red tide in the summer, and the wedding had to, at the last minute, be brought inside the mansion because people were practically fainting at the smell of the red tide coming in, to the waterway, in the Gulf. And so, what is the cause of that? Well, it's pollution. And many years in a row now, Tampa Bay and Sarasota have suffered from red tide, and there are terrible implications. First of all, it is industrial runoff. Beyond that, it's not really good for the wedding business. Just take it from me. Also, it's not really good for the tourism business with all those motels, mom and pops on the Gulf of Mexico that are so lovely and beautiful. And it's not good for anyone. And so whether you start your garden, whether you take any action that is environmentally conscious, even beginning to recycle in your home, any action you do is a blessed help, and all you have to do is take the first step, and guess what? You're part of our whole team, part of our whole community, of doing something and standing up for yourself, standing up for your kids and your grandkids. It's a beautiful event to just take one step, one vital step that's near and dear to your heart, and then you're off and running, and the rest gets easier. And you're going to be pretty surprised in the bounce of your step once you start getting even a little bit active. Put your toe in the clean water and see what happens.
Absolutely.
I go in one step further on Ron. Everything you said is exactly right. But as you're taking that step, tell somebody about it. Share that with somebody, and you'll be surprised how many people will start following.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Oh, we have another call coming in. Yay, party line. Hello. This is the Momma J show. It's a bad connection. We're having a bad connection with this one. Can we call them back? What's going on?
Momma J, this is totally breaking up on me over here.
Yeah, okay. Is everybody cool?
Yeah.
That's better.
Okay. Who went away?
Let me check. No, it wasn't me.
Is Jennifer and Jason still around?
They're still here.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, well, we've officially managed to get 3 or 4 people on here. All right, cool. So, what is it that each of you do to beyond just the Patriot Garden, Jennifer and Jason? What is your background? Where did you come from as far as creating this whole process of the Patriot Garden? And I know one day you guys decided that you wanted to start the garden in the front yard, but beyond that, what drew you guys to really take that jump into your lives?
Well, we started building a sustainable home a few years back, and we've always been sustainable our whole lives. And when we started building the home, it was always part of the master plan to have the garden. If you got to supply the food. And when we started looking at the trajectory of the sun, it was just dictated that it could only go in the front yard. And for us, it was a no-brainer. I mean, we honestly never in a million years thought that there would even be a problem with that. As long as it was kept and well-maintained, it should fall into, any kind of aesthetic landscape, edible landscape should fall in the same code. So we went ahead and put it in the front yard. Mm-hmm. Since then, I've become a master gardener, and I'm just trying to learn and educate everybody around me, and I love it. We both love it.
That's fantastic.
That's really awesome. I've seen a lot worse in people's front yards than a garden, to be honest. And when it comes down to telling you can't grow your own food and you have to feel prey to the markets that are out there, it's ridiculous.
The other thing that was really interesting, what kind of sparked it, or the catalyst, if you will, is we went to Tanzania, and when we were speaking with the local villagers trying to explain to them the concept of a grass lawn, it got quite comical.
I can imagine.
And, pay to haul it away, put poisons and over 50% of our potable drinking water into it, and mow it on your day off. And so when we came back from Tanzania, I mean, that's really what sparked the garden.
Right. Yeah, when I was a kid, my dad, God rest his soul, love you, Pops, we did try to do the typical garden in the backyard, but I think it might have survived had it been in the front yard. Just saying. I knew the rabbits got into it at one point. But
we found out the front yard is the biggest thing, and this is why we say is, you know, we actually encourage you to put it in the front yard in terms of you'll change your life, it'll change your community, it'll change your neighborhood. It was funny, we actually have been doing research on other cities and you know, that are basically going in the right direction, and Portland was one of those. And Portland's garden code basically said, yeah, if you don't have enough sun and it's all in the front yard, put it in the front yard so you get to know your neighbors better, and you'll get more people involved, and you'll get more people in your community gardening, and that's what happens. It's amazing. It'll change everybody. And, you know, we have people that we even have people that don't eat vegetables before this and now do.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you know, it just will start to change people once they start to interact with you in your garden. And because it's in the front yard, that interaction happens. If it's not in the front yard, it doesn't happen.
Right.
And so now people, you know, they'll turn down our street to come see us working in the garden and talk to us about the garden. You know, before they would have just kept on walking. And then I asked those people who are mowing the yard, who's ever stopped to talk to you while you were mowing the yard?
And ask you, how do you do that?
I mean, has one person ever stopped to talk to you while you're mowing the yard? I bet not. So, I mean, it'll change your community in a whole lot of levels, not just food, but just in your social interaction, getting to know the children in the neighborhood, getting to just know, you know, what they like to eat.
Yeah.
You know, and then before you know it, you're breaking bread and sharing meals together. Before, we knew a couple of our neighbors, but, you know, we didn't know that, you know, we knew not that big of an interaction there. Now we know everybody. Now we know most of what they eat.
Awesome. We have another call coming in. Hello. Welcome to Momma J Speaks. You're on the air.
Hey, Momma J, it's Dee Dee Lovejoy. How are you?
Hello. Welcome to the discussion. Everybody is chiming in about doing front yard gardening as opposed to backyard gardening and how it opens up, you know, the opportunities to meet your neighbors, to feed the community, to get rid of the GMOs. And the GMOs are coming down the line, people, just to let you know. Because we have Monsanto ahead of the FDA these days. President
I just have a comment, and it may be adverse to what everybody else is saying. You know, I get what the front yard gardening, I get everything that you're saying. I personally, well, first just let me say I'm a vegetarian and have been for many years. And I try to eat organically when I can. I just came from the grocery store and spent $100 on 2 bags because that's ridiculous. You know, so I get it. But I don't know if I would want my neighbor to have a vegetable garden in his front yard, because I don't know if that is something that I want to see. And just like I don't want a big boat or Winnebago parked in, front of my house either. So it's just not one of the aesthetics that I want in my neighborhood. And that's why I heard you guys say that's why you pay your property taxes and things like that. But that's also why I pay my homeowners association fees, so that the neighborhood that I moved into keeps its property value on the way that the way it was when I bought the property. Because if I wanted to have that kind of community, I would have moved into that kind of community. So it just sounds like that you guys are turning a community into something that maybe it's not accepted in that community, or is it, maybe if it was a community that lended itself to that type of thing, the front yard gardening, then nobody would have a problem with it. Then everybody would be doing it. But if your neighbors are having a problem with it, then, that's something that you have to be consider. You have to consider that.
Right.
Well, what is the difference really between a garden in the front yard that's nicely kept and extensive landscaping? I think that there is no difference, and I don't pay really much attention to what my neighbors. It's far from a Winnebago or an RV in the front yard. It's It's a garden. It's natural. It's beautiful. And I understand not wanting your property value to go down, but I don't see how a garden can make someone's property value go down. Now, I don't want to see an eyesore of a car broke down in the yard for months at a time. But like I said, there's nothing. I mean, it's vegetation.
I guess there's a difference between a garden. I guess when you're growing your own food and things like that, people think of farming.
Right.
Well, and that's the picture that I had in my mind of the rows of lettuce and the rows of cucumbers and all those things. So it's, a garden has a certain look, and it doesn't look like rock landscaping. It's a different kind of landscaping.
Well, there's always the alternative
to
all of that
in order for it to grow. So there is a difference.
Right.
I think that there is a difference, but I'm not a gardener or a farmer. I'm just a homeowner, and I just wanted to voice my opinion on it. And that's what I was doing.
Well, thank you very much.
That's understandable.
Jennifer and Jason is trying to speak.
Wouldn't it be exciting to be able to Wouldn't it be exciting to be able to go into your front yard, your side yard, your backyard, and pick the fruit that you grew with your own hands, knowing how healthy it is for you, than going up to the supermarket and purchasing it, which you're not sure the food track is.
I don't have a problem with that. That's not the issue at all.
Or the
I get
GMO
that,
aspect
I don't think
of
I
it.
would want to. I don't want that in my front yard, and I don't want to see. I don't want to look out of my front door and see it in my neighbor's yard either. Not in the neighborhood that I live in. If I lived in the type of community that was open to those kind of things, and everybody did those kind of things, then I would move into that kind of community because that's what I was into. But not everybody is.
And that's why we have an HOA, and right down the street there's HOAs. In fact, there's more HOAs in the city of Orlando than probably most cities. And those people that choose to live in those communities choose to live in those communities. And we've chosen not to live in an HOA, and so therefore we made that choice. We also chose to live in a city that claimed to be the greenest city in America. So we also thought that meant a lot of gardens. But more importantly, just about land value, there have been as many studies done on how land values done and how they come about the value of the land. And all of those studies, never has a vegetable garden ever affected the value of the property. In fact, you'll find that landscaping in general seldomly affects the value of the property that much because it is not a permanent fixture. It's not a structure. It's not something that costs thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So I've got actually like San Francisco, Portland, Detroit. I've got cities that once they went out and went into the community garden movement and started gardening programs and then allowed front yard gardens, side yard gardens, whatever gardens everywhere, their property values actually went up. Okay? So you're talking about something you're afraid of that's totally hypothetical, and I understand.
No, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not talking about this.
Well,
but I'm not afraid of anything.
Let me interject real quickly.
Or having organic food that I can pick myself. I was just telling you that I eat organically. I'm a vegetarian, and growing my own food is rah-rah. I don't have time for it. I do herbs, but that's about it. So I'm not afraid of that. I'm just telling you as a homeowner, and as a person, when I drive down my street, there's this. I bought my home in this neighborhood because I like the look of it, and that's what I'm saying. It's just like I'm just chiming in, just saying if there's a community that's open to it, like the ones that you're saying in San Francisco, go for it. I'm right behind you. I don't have a problem with gardening at all.
Let me interject for all of you for a moment.
I think I would object to it.
There is an alternative to any traditional type of gardening, whether in the front yard or the backyard, and that is where Vicki and Dan Dulce would come in at. Vicki, are you still on the line, dear?
Yes, I am.
And these people here, hello, Vicki. Sorry.
Hi.
They're the creators of Fish to Food.
Can I just say something real quick about the current topic? I think there's a way to do it I haven't seen Jason and Jennifer's yard yet, and I'm looking forward to doing that. But I think there's a way to do it where you incorporate the garden into the landscape, that it can be very attractive. And the other thing that you can do,
aquaponics,
especially in Florida, is grow fruit trees in your yard.
And fruit trees.
Fruit trees are a very viable source of fresh fruit. Like we have a Meyer lemon, we have 2 plum trees, we have 2 peach trees, we have a fig tree. So we have a number of fruit trees in our yard, and I don't see how an HOA could complain about those if you kept them up.
Right. Well, I think the bottom line, it boils down to this. Everybody has their own viewpoints and opinions. Some people prefer to have the grass with the fertilizer that runs into the water with the nitrates and everything else that continues to add insult to the water systems of Florida. Other people are finding other ways to alleviate that issue by choosing to create their own gardens in the front or backyards, primarily in the front yards. Or another alternative is the aquaponics that you and your husband, Vicky, do. If you might want to describe and tell us some of that, what that all entails.
About 3 years ago, my husband started getting interested in aquaponics, and we really had not heard of it before, or it had not come across our path. It's very widely used in countries like Australia, where there's a problem with water. There's a water issue. What it is, it's the growing of fish and vegetables together in a closed-loop water reuse system. And I know that sounds very technical, but it's very sustainable from a water standpoint, because you're basically taking the water that's in the aquaculture tank where you're growing your fish, and it's pumping it into a vegetable grow bed where you have plants growing, vegetables growing, and the waste from the fish is converted into nitrites and then nitrates, which feed the plants. That's what plants or vegetables use to grow, and then the plants clean the water and return, and then the water goes back to the fish tank as clean water. So it's a win-win for the fish and the plants. It makes perfect sense when you think about it in terms of nature and the way nature functions. If you think about a pond where fish are, there are always lots of lush vegetation around the edges. And so
if Adam, you could pull up that picture to show the audience, the viewers, of the aquaponics and everything. The whole tradition.
You had a picture, did you say?
Yeah, we can put it up on the screen there to show like how the cycle of it works and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so well,
yeah, that's really cool.
It's very interesting, and what we installed a system in our backyard, and we've been using it for about 3 years now. So you have edible organic produce and you have fish. Now, I'll have to tell you, it's not for everybody. You really have to be into this, because it's fairly low maintenance. I would say we do very little to our aquaponic system, but it does have to be tended to occasionally. You do have to, go out and make sure there's enough water. You do have to check the nitrate levels on occasion. And just like any other garden, if you're going to have a garden, you have to plant your vegetables, and you have to plant them in aquaponics from seed, because you can't just go to Home Depot and buy some tiny little plants and put them in the grow media. You can put the root system is different, so they need to be started from seed. But you can grow anything grows well in aquaponics except root vegetables. Root vegetables do not, for obvious reasons, do not do well in aquaponics. But you can grow them in a grow media such as it's similar to hydroponics. If you're familiar with hydroponics, it's basically hydroponics without the commercially bought chemicals. The fish waste is the conversion of the fish waste gives plants everything they need, all the nutrition that they need, except for the fact that you may need to add chelated iron if some of your vegetables start to turn a little yellow. But that seldom happens. But if it does, there's an alternative for that. So I would say it's less expensive chemical-wise than hydroponics, and you get to eat fish.
So
it has some advantages.
Yeah. So that's good for the person that is fully vegetarian, and if they want any type of meat, I guess fish is a good source of that for vegetarians. I mean, I'm not vegetarian all the way.
Right. Well, our website is fishtoofood.com, fish numeral 2 food, and we have a lot of photographs and information out. One of the main things that we do is education to schools. I wrote a curriculum for schools that is available on the website, and I authored 2 DVDs. One is Aquaponics for Education, which is it's like a Aquaponics 101 for people who are just learning about it. And the other one is a Plummet DVD, How to Plumb a Backyard System. And my husband, Dan, has been working with Dr. Phillips High School for, about a year and a half now. And we initially did a IBC tote system for them, which is a repurposed shipping crate that you can turn into an aquaponic system. It's a small system, but it shows how it works. And then we just are finishing up a commercial-sized aquaponic system for their agri-science department. So they're going to be the first school in the county, and maybe quite a few counties, to have an aquaponics system, working aquaponics system in their school. So they're very excited about that. They won some awards at their last state fair and the kids were very excited about that.
Well, then that is something that the Tampa Bay area needs to get on the bandwagon to help educate, because we want to spread the education and the awareness all over. And so for what Jennifer and Jason want to do, what Mr. Ron Haben wants to do, what you, Vicki, and Dan do, and everything, and Carrie and Dee Dee, they were able to share their viewpoints and everything, and we truly appreciate having different views and everything. But I want everybody to indicate that is still with us. What is it ultimately that they want to inspire people to really become aware of and actually do for the changes that are coming throughout our world? And knowing that Monsanto is a corporation now that is going to be ahead of the FDA, of our Food and Drug Administration, how do any of us want to be the leaders in creating something where people can start realizing they can take control of their own food sources?
Well, Momma J, let me just say, first of all, thank you for having me on the program. It's been a joy. And specifically, I think one has to change oneself before you can take on the Monsantos of the world. That means being responsible, for me, and I know this is a spiritual show, so I'm happy to say pray, meditate, journal, breathe, pray, meditate, journal, and hear what yours is to do. We may or may not be called to grow a garden. We may or may not be called to go to civic action. We may or may not be called to get involved in one or the other part of this environmental conundrum. Having said that, it's helpful to hear what yours is to do. And if you really are focusing on, if you're hearing spirit, if your intuition, if your gut is saying do it, chances are it's authentic. And you may, as it says in the Bible, to be in the world but not of the world.
Right.
In other words, get into it, do your responsibility, also do it lightly. Maybe get out of there with an ice cream cone and go home, but have fun, as we did on this weekend
yes.
up at Wekiva. So it's just treating everyone beautifully, appreciating everyone's contribution, and the Monsantos and the others will take care of themselves. It doesn't mean we ignore them, but we do what we can do to make this a greener, happier, more people and animal-oriented world. And again, thanks, Momma J, for this opportunity. You've got a great show here.
Oh, thank you so much, Ron. And Jennifer and Jason, any final thoughts?
Yes, well, thank you for having us on as well. And just, as we try to show everybody kind of as the example, we quit trying to talk people into it, so to speak, but just to show them that, by doing, more and more people will be interested and come on board and see that it's possible and see that it's worth doing. And in that case, we'll get more and more people to get involved. And that's really the only thing we can ever really do. And so we respect everybody's wish to have lawn yards. We don't want to force them not to, but we also want them to respect our right to have our food. And we can, basically just say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and we think ours is a much prettier yard, and you think yours is a much prettier yard, and that's fair.
We all have prettier yards no matter what, depending on what we're perceiving.
I like to say that I really believe we all need to be stewards of the earth. The higher we can vibrate, the louder the voice of spirit comes. And so when we're in alignment and we're having fun, that's what we should be doing. Ron brought up an excellent point about listen for what your calling is, because you're here for a reason, and everybody's reason is different, and together that's how we're unified.
Exactly. And this is why I love doing my show and having guests on here, calling and in studio. Vicki, do you have any final thoughts?
Yes, dear. Thank you for having us on and allowing us to speak about this important subject, which is close to my heart. We became aware of the water situation several years ago, and that's why we started doing what we're doing. I would say the most important thing to do is to imagine the world that you want. Use your imagination to see in your mind's eye how you'd like the world to be, and then do what's in front of you to do. You'll know what to do. It may not be a vegetable garden. It may be something else. Everyone has what's theirs to do, and but if you do that, then we're all participating together in creating a new reality.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what's happening right now. And plant some fruit trees in your yard if you get a chance.
Absolutely. And Dee, if you're still on, any final thoughts? Dee, did you go bye-bye? Guess she did. Well, I want to thank you all for calling in. Sorry if it got a little hairy here and there, and a long wait here and a long wait there for everybody to get their voices heard and everything. But I truly appreciate, and I love everyone. I love you all. Thank you for sharing and participating in this discussion and sharing what you guys are doing in Orlando and Central Florida. I hope this show today will help spur something within people that are in the Tampa Bay, St. Pete area and beyond. And I do hope you all will want to participate again on other shows by calling in. And also know you can all find me on Facebook at mommajspeaks.com. Like my page and catch up with everything. And everyone, thank you so much for calling in. Thank you for showing up. Thank you, all you listeners. Thank you for all you viewers that are tuning in weekly and seeing what is next for me to do as I bring important awarenesses and information. I'm just here to be the messenger, to be the catalyst in whatever capacity it is to be. And so this is my purpose for my shows and everything. So we're going to be leaving now. Thank you all for tuning in for the Momma J Speaks from 5 to 6 p.m. on Mondays. And I'll catch you all next week and in coming weeks with other exciting in-studio guests or other exciting call-in guests. And by all means, you out there can be a call-in guest at any time to chime in, voice your opinion, share your stories. And know that if anyone is out there that is finding my show intriguing and you want to sponsor it, then definitely call Talkwad Networks and make it happen. So I hope to see you all again next week. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful week. No, it's fantastic. The world is wonderful based upon how you want to create it. God bless you all. Love you. Bye.